Dear students, this is the part C of overview of C++ module of object-oriented programming through C++ for the Diploma in Computer Engineering students of semester 3 in Kerala State. In the first two parts, we discussed the fundamentals of C++ with many kinds of statements, control statements. This part covers various kinds of defined data types, user-defined data types. We have two kinds of data types in every languages. One is basic data types, which are defined by the compiler of the programming language. In C and C++ also we have many basic data types. Int, character, float, double, etc. are basic data types in C++. Then the second kind of data types are defined data types. These are user-defined data types. User can define data as per the programmer's request. The programmer can define these new data types using basic data types. We can make use of the basic data types to define new kind of data in a program. The first kind of defined data types is array. Array is a homogeneous collection of values. That means one basic data type can be collected into a particular memory location to access or to store a set of values. This is called arrays. Every element in the array is stored in the consecutive memory locations of the computer. The second kind is structures, which is a heterogeneous collection of data. Here, the collection of data elements can be of different data types. We can mix different data types into a single structure. Then union, bit field and enumeration are little variations of the above data types. We can alter the accessibility, the size and the properties of basic data types by using user-defined data types. The first one is arrays. An array is a set of elements of the same data type. As I mentioned earlier, it is a collection of data of same data type. We can visualize an array as a set of continuous memory locations. These locations are of the same size. These locations, every location are of the same size. Arrays of integers or float or characters or any programmer defined data can be defined. Here, integer, float, character are the basic data types of C++. We can define arrays of these basic data types. Also, we can define any other programmer defined data into an array. Single dimensional arrays. We can define two kinds of arrays. One is single dimensional array. So single dimensional array has only one column and many rows. We have only one column but many rows. The number of rows is the size of the array. It is called the size of the array. Number of rows in an array is called the size of the array. The syntax for defining an array in the program is data type. The basic data type should be mentioned here, or the user defined data type can also be given here, followed by array name. It is just like a variable name, followed by the size of the array within square brackets. Size means the number of elements we desire to store inside that array. Then if we want to initialize the values during array declaration, we can mention these values like this: equal to, then curly bracket, then elements listed separated with commas, then finally put a semicolon. This syntax can be used to initialize the values into an array. We can define array without initialization part also. In that case, the syntax is data type, array name, size. That's all. Put a semicolon after the size. Here is an example for array declaration and initialization. Int mark 5. Here int is the basic data type. Then mark is the array name. 5 is the size of the array. Then equal to for initialization of the values. Since this array has 5 values, we are giving 5 initial values: 60, 65, 80, 75, 90, etc. These values are assigned into the continuous memory locations of the array mark. This is a simple pictorial representation of this array. Here an array index is used to identify each value in the array. Each value in the array is called element. The first element is identified by array index 0, the second element by array index 1, and so on. Here the first index of the array is 0 and the last index of the array is 4. Every array index starts from 0. You can watch the video of our channel for more information on single dimensional array. Single dimensional array programs are also included in that video. Next is two-dimensional arrays. Two-dimensional array means we have many rows and many columns. In one-dimensional array, many rows and one column, but here we have many rows and many columns. Number of rows and columns are to be given as size. In the first one-dimensional array, the size is the number of rows, but here we have to mention the number of columns and the number of rows. Here is the syntax: data type, array name, number of rows, that is row size, number of columns, that is column size. Put a semicolon. This is just an initialization. This is just a declaration of two-dimensional array without initialization. You can also give initialization with declaration. It is not mentioned here. Here is an example: int matrix 3, 4. Here 3 rows and 4 columns are there in the matrix variable. 3 rows and 4 columns. Each location can store integer values. The total number of elements in this matrix is 12. This is a pictorial representation of this matrix. We have 12 values as a table. The first row contains 4 values, second row contains another 4 values, and the third row contains another 4 values. Here we have 3 rows and 4 columns. Many examples and many initialization, many programs, everything about the two-dimensional array were explained in the YouTube channel video with the title Two-Dimensional Arrays. So many topics were covered. So here I am not mentioning much more on two-dimensional arrays. The next topic is character arrays. A one-dimensional character array can store one string. One-dimensional character array is called a string. A string is used to store many character, any kind of keyboard characters in computer's memory. Usually text data such as name, address, everything can be stored in the memory by using character arrays. A two-dimensional character array can store a set of strings. Suppose we want to store a set of names in the computer memory, we should define two-dimensional character array. This is an example for a single-dimensional character array. Character names 9. Here the names is the name of the array. We can store 9 characters in this array. The index starts from 0 and ends at 9, 8. The string stored, characters stored in this character array is Thrissur. To identify it as a single string, we should include a \0 in the last location of the array. It is a break for a string, end of string character. The \0 is called end of string character. So the total size of this array is 9 bytes because every character needs 1 byte in memory. Then another example is also mentioned here. Character names 10, 12. 10 is the number of rows, 12 is the number of columns. Here, each row can be used to store one string. Here, each row can hold maximum of 12 characters including \0. Set of names are stored in the sample array. These are some names ends with \0. Character arrays are also explained in a video of this channel titled Strings in C. So I am not mentioning much more about character arrays or strings here. The next defined data type is structures. It is used for combining related components. Information regarding a particular entity can be stored as a single structure. For example, the details of a student, the details of an employee, the details of a book, details of a medicine. All these are related components. These components can be combined into a single data structure, and this kind of construction is called a structure. The structure definition starts with the keyword struct, followed by the programmer defined name. We can define a structure data type inside every program, inside a C++ program, using struct keyword. The name given with the structure declaration will be used as a type name. Actually, we are giving a name during the declaration of structure, and this name will be used as the data type name to define structure variables in that program. That is, the name is acting as a new data type. That data type can be used to define new variables. These variables are called structure variables. Related components inside the structure are called structure elements. These structure elements are defined inside curly brackets. Each element declaration is similar to the declaration of a variable. Inside a structure, we can define many elements. Each element declaration is similar to declaration of an ordinary variable. So, any kind of variable can be defined inside a structure. We can use basic data types, then user defined data types inside a structure. So, a structure itself can be defined inside a structure. An array can be defined inside a structure. Any user defined data type can be defined as an element of the structure. A structure element cannot be initialized during declaration because the structure element names are mentioned during the declaration, not the values. We cannot define the values into a structure element during the definition of structure. The structure, there is no memory allocation is happened when we are defining a structure. The actual memory allocation is happened whenever we are defining a structure variable. When we are defining a structure variable, we can assign values into that structure variables or structure elements. The syntax of the structure definition is structure name, then within brackets data type variable 1, data type variable 2, etc. Any number of variables can be given inside the structure. Each variable is called a structure element. The structure name becomes the new data type. This is an example for a student structure declaration. Here, struct student. Student is the structure variable name. Structure name. This structure name student is now a new data type in which we can store a name of 20 characters, a register number of integer data type, a CGPA of float. So it is a combination of three variables. One is a character array, one is an integer, and the other is a float data. These data elements are combined together to form a new data type student. And after declaration of this student, we can define structure variable by using the following syntax. Struct keyword is also used here. Structure name. Previously defined structure name is given here, followed by structure variables. At this time, memory allocation for this structure variable happens. Structure variable is allocated in the computer memory with sufficient number of bytes. Here is an example, struct student S1, S2. The student is a data type with three elements: name, mark and age, struct is the keyword. S1 and S2 are the variables. So S1 is reserved in the memory with a number of bytes, and S2 is allocated with another set of bytes. S1 and S2 are stored at different locations in the memory. Structure elements can be accessed using a dot operator. Structure elements can be accessed using a dot operator. Dot operator is used to access element of a structure. This is the syntax. Structure variable dot element. Example, s dot name. To access name inside structure s, we can use s dot name. Similarly, s dot register number, s dot CGP. In the previous example, we have defined two variables s1 and s2. Inside s1 we have name, register number and CGPA. Inside s2 we have name, register number and CGPA. To access the name of s1, we must use s1 dot name. Similarly, s1 dot register number, s1 dot CGPA. In the case of s2 variable, s2 dot name, s2 dot register number, s2 dot CGPA can be used to access that elements. Access means we can input, print, calculate any kind of process we can do inside the program by using structure elements. More about structures is also explained in the YouTube channel with a video titled Structures in C. All these explanations are applicable to C++ also. Next is unions. Union is a user-defined data type. All the members of the union share same memory location. All the members of union share same memory location. Size of the union is decided by the size of the largest member of the union. If we are defining two or more variables inside a union, the size of the largest member variable can be assigned in memory. All variables are stored in the same memory location. It is somewhat similar to structures, not exactly, because in structure each element has its own memory location. Each element has its own memory location. So the size of a structure is the sum of sizes of its individual elements. The keyword union is used to define a union. Its syntax is union name. It is similar to any other variable name. Then within brackets, member variables. Any number of member variables with the data type can be given inside the brackets. This is an example program which explains the working of union. It is a declaration of union test. We have two variables x and y as the union elements, and this is the main program. We are defining a variable of the type union test t. This is similar to structure variable declaration. Now t gets memory of 4 bytes because an integer needs 4 bytes in memory. T allocates 4 bytes of memory, and we are assigning a value into the variable x, t dot x. X inside T is accessed using dot operator. T dot X equal to 2. Here T dot Y also share the same memory location of T dot X. So T dot Y also gets a value 2. If we are printing these two values, we get the same values on the screen. Again, we are assigning a 10 to T dot Y. Here T dot X is also updated to 10. Value of the T dot X is also changed to 10. Because both of the elements share the same memory location. We can print these values to verify the working of a union. So this is a simple program to demonstrate the use of union and working of union. In some cases, all the variables are not using simultaneously. That is, all the structure elements may not be used in a program simultaneously. In such programs, we can define union to save the memory usage. To save the memory usage, we can use unions. Next is enumeration. Enum is the keyword. It is user-defined data type that contains fixed set of constants. A set of constants can be assigned to a enumeration data. We can assign only that allowed values into that kind of variables, enumerated variables. You can understand the enumeration using an example. This is the syntax. Enum, enumerated data type name. We can give any variable name as we given in structure and union. Then within brackets, we are giving a set of values. There is no need to define data type or anything like that. We are just giving a set of constants inside the bracket. So these are the possible values for this enumerated data type. This enumerated type name variable can store only these values from the bracket. We can create enumerated data type variables as same as the normal variable. This syntax is similar to the union or structure variable declaration. Enumerated data type name, which is previously defined with the enum keyword here. This enumerated data type name is given here, followed by a variable name, then equal to a value can also be given, because this is an initialization process. A value can be assigned to enumerated variable during initialization, during declaration. This feature is not allowed in structure. We cannot assign any value other than the list of given values to an enumerated data variable. We cannot assign any other value from the list. We can assign only the values available in the list. That is the speciality of enumerated data type. We can assign only the values defined in the enumeration data type. Here is an example. We are defining enumeration data type gender with two constants, male, female. The possible values to gender data is male or female. Then gender variable type is creating here gender G. Gender is the enumerated data type. G is the enumerated data variable. This data variable is assigned with a value male. It is possible because male is listed inside the enumerated data type definition. Two values are possible to the gender type data, male and female. Then if G equal to male, we can use this value with the if statement like this. If G equal to male, see out the gender is male. This is just an example. A simple example to explain the enumerated data type. Actually, we have two values male and female inside the enumerated data type. But internally, these are represented with 0 and 1. The first element inside the enumerated data type gets a value 0. The next element gets 1. The third element gets 2 and so on. We can see one more example here. Year. January, February, March up to December. Here, year is an enumerated data type, which data type can be used to store any one value from this list of 12 values, January to December. No other values can be assigned to enumerated variable. Here also, the value, internal value of January is 0, Feb is 1 and March is 2 and so on. Internally, numeric values are stored for enumerated data values. Next is bit field. We can specify the size of a structure and union member, and this kind of fields are called bit fields. The size can be mentioned in bits. Each element by default allocates a particular size of memory based on the data type, but we can reduce the size by mentioning its size in bits. This idea is used to handle the memory efficiently when we know that the value of the field is within a small range. As you know, an integer variable takes 4 bytes in memory. 4 bytes means 4 into 8, 32 bits in memory. But in many programs, we use small numbers in this memory location, which does not need all these 32 bits. So we can reduce the number of bits for a particular variable to handle the memory efficiently. For example, if we need to store a month number always ranges from 1 to 12. So to store up to 12, we do not need 32 bits. So we can reduce the size of that month to 12 bits. This kind of operation can be done by using bit field declaration. We can mention the size of the data member by mentioning the number of bits. The bit fields example, here is a structure definition called date. As you know, a date has 3 components: date, month and year. The value of date is in between 1 and 31. So the maximum value for a date variable is 31. Only 5 bits are sufficient to store a date in computer memory. So we are limiting the size of D into 5 bits. Unsigned int D 5. A colon is used to define the bit field. Unsigned int D colon 5. Here this 5 is the number of bits for the variable D. The variable D is an integer variable, but it does not take 32 bits memory. It takes only 5 bits of memory. Similarly, M, the next variable is for month. Its value is always between 1 and 12. So only 4 bits are sufficient to store such a month value. So we are defining another bit field, unsigned int M colon 4. Here M is another bit field. Here only 4 bits are reserved for this variable. The next one is year Y, unsigned int Y. This is not a bit field. This is an ordinary integer variable which takes 32 bits of memory. Then end of the structure definition. So from the definition of this structure, we could understand that the total size of the structure is limited to 8 bytes. 4 bytes for integer Y and another 4 bytes for D and M. So we could save 4 bytes of memory by defining this kind of declaration. So this is the main program. It is a structure variable declaration DT. We are just printing a message to find the size of DT. The size of DT will be printed on the screen. The date is also printed on the screen as 31/12/2014 because we assigned these values into DT variable during the declaration. Return 0. This program gives an output 8 bytes because size of D plus M is actually 9 bits, but an integer takes minimum of 4 bytes memory. So if we are using 9 bits in memory, the total 4 bytes are reserved for that integer. So 4 bytes for D and M and another 4 bytes for Y, total 8 bits. Size will be printed on the screen. In this session we discussed user defined data types, arrays, structures, single dimensional arrays, 2-dimensional arrays, strings, string arrays, bit fields, enumeration, unions. All these are various kinds of user defined data types. Thank you.